When British lawmakers start negotiating a post-Brexit relationship with the EU, their first ambition will be a free trade deal that allows their businesses to continue trading unhindered on the continent.
There is no need for a free trade agreement to involve accepting EU rules on competition policies, subsidies, social protection, the environment, or anything similar, any more than the EU should be obliged to accept UK rules.
But EU officials setting out their priorities for the talks on Tuesday say free access to their markets is off the table.
There cannot be a free trade agreement that doesn't protect the interests of our employees. There must not be social dumping, there must not be environmental dumping, and this must be clear to British negotiators.
There are several sticking points between the two sides. The EU says if Britain wants to retain access to its market, it has to keep following EU rules. It also wants the UK to continue letting European fishermen work in British waters. Meanwhile, London wants to ensure its banks can hold on to their share in European financial markets. So far, neither side seems willing to budge. The UK's departure from the economic bloc is also creating friction among its remaining members. Austria, Denmark, the Netherlands and Sweden, four of the largest contributors to the EU coffers, want to limit their payouts to Brussels.
We are fine with being net payers, of course. It's a simple solidarity, it's an important solidarity, but we cannot accept a dramatic increase of our fees. So that is out of the question. Now we have a strong cooperation between the like-minded countries, Denmark, Austria, Netherlands and Sweden, working very close together, making sure that the volume of the budget will stay at 1%.
That's angered poorer EU members who say without adequate support from Brussels, their economies will not benefit from the Union.
Lithuania is a member of the European Union since 2004, and still we are waiting for full conversion in the agriculture sector. Production costs in our agriculture sector are at the same level as in Western Europe, and direct payments are much less, so we cannot talk about level playing field here.
If differences between London and Brussels drag on, reaching consensus within the economic bloc could also be jeopardized. Mobin Nasir, TRT World.
Well, for more on this, the Chief Executive of the Centre for European Policy Studies, Karel Lannoo, joins us now from Brussels. Welcome back to the programme, Karel. Now, the EU has effectively drawn up its battle lines for these post-Brexit trade negotiations, which are due to kick off next week. They essentially say that any negotiations on the EU part will use EU rules as the reference point for any trade deal. Does this come as a surprise to you?
No, not at all. I mean, that is the context in which the EU has said since about 3.5 years it will be negotiated with the UK the moment they leave. But you also need to realize that the UK is leaving the EU now, that the EU has towards its 27 other members make clear what is the benefit of membership. And if a member is leaving, then it won't have the same benefits anymore as it used to have before.
Now, we know that the EU is the world's biggest single market. So really, the EU here has the upper hand, doesn't it? Because Britain clearly wants a slice of the EU market in these negotiations.
Yes, the EU has the upper hand, but there are important things in the UK, like its financial centre, London, which the EU doesn't have and which the EU will need. There are certainly things which the EU has which the UK doesn't have, but there are things which the UK has which the EU doesn't have. Meaning, you can summarize it easily, the EU is a net goods exporter to the UK, but the UK is a net services exporter to the EU. So you should find a balance in between these two different interests, which would be a win-win situation. However, that will be extremely difficult to find.
Okay, Karel Lannoo, we will have to leave it there, but thank you again for your analysis.